I left, but I believe it or not, after I left the SEALG, I still believed in Scientology.
Yes. I've heard this from other ex-Scientologists I've spoken to, that they struggle with that. Sorry, go on.
Finally, something happened a year and a half after I left, after further intimidation from the SEA organisation stating, you can't work with this person, you can't work with any Scientologist unless you come back into the SEA organisation. And I finally walked away because the intimidation just got too much. And then I met a woman called Rebecca Anderson in Melbourne, and she just opened my eyes and had enough love for me to sit down and ask me to just evaluate and look. And she was so patient with me, and it just started to open my eyes. Yeah. And then once I opened up my eyes I left in 96 from the SEALG, and I left Scientology in 98. And by the year 2000 rolled around, I started looking on the internet, and I found people were trying to speak out. And every time they spoke out, they were being sued by the church. They were being criticised by the church. They were having letters put out to their friends and people that knew them about their crimes that, quote, these people had done.
Yeah.
And I was scared, and I tried to speak out. The process to undo this is not easy, and some people will never, ever reconcile Scientology.
Yes.
I don't know if I could tell you what the exact mechanism was. I don't know, but it would go along the lines of reading other books. Just read, because this is forbidden.
Yeah, read anything.
Just read, get education. Read this book, whether it's pro, not just about Scientology, to or from against Scientology. Read books on science, read books on philosophy, read books on, and then it dawns me, I'm reading these books, and I realize the word love didn't even appear in the thousands of flag orders and policy letters that I read.
Yes.
And it dawned on me, it was never about, this man Ron Hubbard never loved,
yeah.
And the SEALG it was never part of their policy to do this. The words hate and enemy were mentioned everywhere. And so it clicked for me, and for others it's clicked. And for some, I'm afraid to say, I don't think it will ever click.
Yes. Look, we're going to have to wrap it up soon, but I'd like to have you on again and perhaps talk about more about leaving the church, and perhaps have a segment on how we can support people to explore looking outside of the church and to read other things. And, for people who are thinking of leaving or just questioning, I know that's a very difficult thing for members of Scientology, and particularly the Sea Org, to even question things is like a crime in itself.
It is a crime. If they even mention that they're reading a book that's not necessarily anti-Scientology, but let's say questions religion or questions belief or science, then what will happen is they will get in trouble.
Yeah, or sex or love or anything like that.
I'd love to talk about. I'm happy to be on your show again.
That'd be great.
Thanks,
just
Aaron.
one last thing I want to ask you about is Anonymous. Well, how do you feel about the group Anonymous?
I've spoken to several members of Anonymous. They're a very gung-ho organisation.
Yep.
There's no question about that. And some of them are in there because they know the injustice here. And although some of their knowledge on the true incidents in the SEALG is sometimes weak, but some of these people know a great deal, I feel I will support them. Because they're assisting in a cause. Now, maybe they don't fully understand everything behind this cause, but they've seen enough.
Right.
And they know enough people that have been hurt.
How would you feel about, after we talk to you, finish this interview, I play the message to Scientology from Anonymous? Would you be all right with that?
I'd love to hear it.
Okay. Why don't you stay on the line while we play it? Thank you so much, Aaron. I personally support what you're doing. I think you're very brave. And, what ex-members need to hear is from people like you, and to stand up and say, I take responsibility for my actions.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Cheers.
Ready, Jake?
Yep.
Hello, leaders of Scientology. We are Anonymous. Over the years, we have been watching you, your campaigns of misinformation, your suppression of dissent, your litigious nature. All of these things have caught our eye. With the leakage of your latest propaganda video into mainstream circulation, The extent of your malign influence over those who have come to trust you as leaders has been made clear to us. Anonymous has therefore decided that your organization should be destroyed. For the good of your followers, for the good of mankind, and for our own enjoyment, we shall proceed to expel you from the internet and systematically dismantle the Church of Scientology in its present form. We recognize you as serious opponents, and do not expect our campaign to be completed in a short time frame. However, you will not prevail forever against the angry masses of the body politic. Your choice of methods, your hypocrisy, and the general lawlessness of your organization have sounded its death knell. You have nowhere to hide, because we are everywhere. You will find no recourse in attack, because for each of us that falls, 10 more will take his place. We are cognizant of the many who may decry our methods as parallel to those of the Church of Scientology, those who espouse the obvious truth that your organization will use the actions of Anonymous as an example of the persecution of which you have for so long warned your followers. This is acceptable to Anonymous. In fact, it is encouraged. We are your SPs. Over time, as we begin to merge our pulse with that of your church, the suppression of your followers will become increasingly difficult to maintain. Believers will become aware that salvation needn't come at the expense of their livelihood. They will become aware that the stress and the frustration that they feel is not due to us, but is sourced much closer to them. Yes, we are SPs, but the sum of suppression we could ever muster is eclipsed by that of your own RTC. Knowledge is free. We are Anonymous. We are Legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us.